Boo. Hey fellas, I wanted to put a short video together today with a quick review of HK Models B25 Mitchell in 1/32 scale. This kit. And I haven't really seen a review out there. I'm not a big in-box review guy. There's only so much you can tell from reviews that just show you the kit in the box. But I'm at a point right now where I've got it in primer and I'm ready to start painting. So I've basically got the entire plane built, but I need to paint it. So I figured this would be a good time to do a review. And I may use terms like good and bad. Those are very subjective terms. So if I use those, just ignore those terms. But I will show you the kit, the likes and dislikes so far. And I'm not one to bash kits either. There are good kits and bad kits, and there I go using that term. There are kits with raised panel lines like the old Monogram kits. And then you've got the Tamiya kits. Like the Tamiya 148 F14 Tomcat is the best kit that I've ever built as far as ease to put together. Some people say it lacks detail. I'm not a rivet counter. It doesn't bother me if, panel lines aren't exactly where they're supposed to be, or they're, I don't get into all that. So let's start, and we'll take a look at what I've got done so far, and I'll kind of go over the kit and some of the issues that I found with it. And you guys can see that and judge for yourself if it's something that you want to get. All right, here is the kit. As you can see, it's a pretty good sized kit. Not overwhelming as far as 1/32 scale kits go. I've got here's a recently completed F104C from Italeri in 1/32 scale. And it's basically the same length. Obviously, it's got shorter wings. So the lengthwise isn't. Oh, I'm gonna drop it. Isn't the big issue? But when you add the wings, let me throw the other one on here real quick. Once you put the wings on, then it becomes a whole different animal. It can barely, it won't even fit in my camera here. But you can see that's going to be a big plane. We'll go over the outside first. And at the end of the video, I'll show you some pictures of the interior so you can see it. And obviously you can't see it now because it's all closed up. I am impressed with the overall detail on the outside of the kit. If you can take a look at these wings. They've got really fine panel lines, tens of thousands of rivets, according to the box. The fuselage is the same. You can see all the rivet detail. The fuselage halves come together just like most other kits. They come together down the center line. This front nose piece is a separate piece. It basically attaches to the bottom, and then you put the two nose windows on. There's the bombardier window. You throw this one on and this one on. Takes a little bit of dry fitting to get them down pretty good. Not nearly the type of issues that you see in the older Monogram kits where they never seem to fit. I didn't have to do much filing, if at all, on the windows. I got a little bit of a step there and a little bit of step there. I probably could have taken care of that if I was a little more careful. Next time I will. The seams weren't that big of an issue. You can kind of see some here on top. I'm not sure if that's just because of the difference in color, because I used super glue with a little bit of pigment in it to fix my seams. So I try to work small when I go and fix seams on it. And I don't know if that's that line that you can kind of see there is an actual seam. I can't feel it. So I'm thinking that just might be the difference in color. The bottom looks pretty good. I had to patch up a few places. So overall, the overall detail on the exterior, as far as I'm concerned, is excellent. The fit was fairly decent for such a large plane. Usually when you get these big planes, there's, you know, big gaps and steps, and I didn't find any issues with that. The tailpiece is one section, and then you just mount it on and then put the rear gunner's position window in. There's the canvas bag that goes on the back, and a lot of people have said, oh, it looks dorky, it protrudes too much. I'll get that for you real quick. You know, I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big rivet counter. It looks okay to me. We're going to use it. What I really do like about this kit is how they affix the wings to the fuselage. They've got these 4 notches, which I had to file down a little bit because it's so tight when you get this on. It's hard to get off. But basically, you put the wing on when you're done, because you can paint it with the wings off. Put the wing on and then slide it back and it locks into place. No glue necessary. Like I said, I filed it down and it's still pretty tight, so I'm not gonna jam those on until I get it finished. As you can see, I've got this in the gear up position, and I wasn't going to. However, and one of my pet peeves building a kit is when they have you, they force you to put the landing gear on prior to putting the fuselage halves together, and this is the same way. So I got these landing gear on. I'll go grab the front gear. I got the front gear on, and I ordered resin wheels, but I didn't get the metal landing gear. And I hate those white metal landing gear that you get. They're usually crappily molded. They're all bent out of shape. But I have ordered for the next kit that I got, because I ordered another one. This was $212. So it's an expensive kit, and you think with a kit like this, they could at least supply you with decent metal landing gear. And I'll tell you where that's a problem here in a minute. But I ordered some G-Factor landing gear, and I don't think they're the white metal. I think they're a stiffer, smoother finish on them, and there's not as much cleanup. And I've used them before, and from what I remember, they're really solid, and they don't bend too easily. But these, the plastic ones, I mean, there's a lot of give to them. And the issue that I ran into is I loaded up, before I did research on the kit, I loaded up the front with lead weight. And I thought I had too much in there. And because I had to close the fuselage halves up, I went ahead and closed them up, had the gear in, the front gear. Ended up test fitting the gear, the rear landing gear, and I set it on the table, and it went on its tail. And I was like, oh crap. And I thought I had a ton in there. So much so that this was kind of bending, and I didn't like it. From what I found, I think it suggested that you put 80 grams of nose weight in there, but even that doesn't work. And then I've read on where, you know, you have to put like 195 grams, basically 200 grams of nose weight in this thing. And that's going to be cramming it in every nook and cranny in the front just to keep it from tail sitting. And these cheap plastic landing gear they're not going to hold that weight. So if you're going to get this kit and you want to put it on its gear, make sure you get some metal landing gear, or you reinforce this before you put it in. And basically you're going to have to take off this piece here, because this is what really bends. You're going to have to take that piece off and make it out of metal. Just go ahead and get some metal landing gear. And for that price, they should include metal gear for it. The interior detail's not that great. I'll flash some pictures up here at the end of what I got. The engines contain about 70 parts. And as you can see, this is a very detailed engine. All this little wiring in here, they're all separate pieces. It's kind of a pain in the butt because there's obviously not a whole lot to hold on to, and each part has at least one or two sprue gates that you have to clean up, and that was kind of a pain. All these push rods, there's 4 of these in each engine, and they're basically just like a wheel spoke, and you put those on, but each one of those push rods has a sprue gate attached to them, which is a pain in the butt, and so you have to clean those up. All these little, I guess they're called cylinder head covers, those are all one separate pieces. You have to glue all those on. I mean, it's just, and all the piping in the back, it's a lot of work. I mean, it took me a few hours just to put these together. So, but I mean, it's a very detailed engine. The propellers, I've heard a lot of people say that they're like paddles. I don't know. I don't build too many World War II planes. They look okay to me. Something I'm going to do with this kit that I've never really done before is I'm going to, since the bottom needs to be in full metal finish or natural metal finish, I'm going to do the whole plane in natural metal finish and then do my olive drab on top over the natural metal. And this is going to allow me to do some natural looking chipping, I hope. Now I've experimented because I want to do some heavy chipping, make this a nicely weathered World War II plane. So I'm going to use this stuff, this Mr. Masking. And I've experimented with that and this on a scrap piece of card. And as you can see, this stuff here is on this side. And the micro scale is on this side. What I found is the micro scale will actually lift up and eat into the natural metal finish on the bottom. The Mr. Hobby stuff does not. So we're using Mr. Hobby. I may employ some other methods, like maybe some hairspray technique. I'm not really sure. But what I found is with this propeller, I did this all in natural metal finish. And then what I did is I went back with some Tamiya NATO Black using X20A as thinner. And what I found is that the X20A makes it a little more fragile than if I would use the leveling thinner. That may or may not be the case, but you know, that's in my experience, that's what I found. So once I sprayed the black on, and what I did is I took a toothpick and just went along, and I could chip that paint up to give it you know, a realistic chipping effect. And I'm going to try to employ that as well as the masking fluid to get the chipping on the upper part of the plane. The engine cowls, they're kind of fiddly. It comes with this right here, these little flaps are attached to this little, it's almost like a framework, and then you attach the cowl pieces on afterwards. Now, I didn't follow the instructions, and apparently, before you attach the cowl pieces, these cowl panels, you have to install the engine and then put in the exhaust pipes. Well, I didn't do that, so I'm going to have to leave the exhaust pipes out of it. But I don't think it's going to be that noticeable. And from the reference pics, I mean, there's only a small opening anyway, so I don't think you're going to notice it once it's on the plane. But you can see, I mean, that's going to be, let's see, I'll put the ring on it. But as far as the engine goes, you're only going to see that much of it anyway. Which, I mean, it still looks pretty cool. But all those little details in the back, you're not really going to see anyway. All right. The other thing that I ordered were the guns. Here are the guns, the gun barrels that come with the kit, and I think there are like 9. You got 3 up front, 2 on the top gunner, 2 here, and 2 here. I'm not very good at math. But these are the kit parts. And you'd have to drill them out and bore them out, and they're not real great. What I did is I ordered the I think it's, yeah, Master 1/32 scale gun barrels, and it's for the B17. But here's what those look like. See if we can get the camera to focus. Yikes. But they're a lot better. They're 2-piece, and basically this shroud, you glue that onto this the barrel. And I had to drill out the holes just a little bit, make the holes a little bit wider in the front to go in. But they'll fit in just like that. And they look a ton better than the ones that come with the kit. Overall, you know, it's taken me a little over a week to get to this point. I'm going to be at the painting stage, so probably maybe, I don't know, as much chipping and stuff as I'm going to do. It might take me another week to get it completed. But I'm going to do a video on painting it, because I've never done it this way. Whether it turns out well or not, I don't know. We'll see. Either way, you'll get to see it. If it works out good, if not, then I can put it in the don't do again pile. So, all right, that's basically my overview, kind of review of the kit. You know, it's not something an inexperienced modeler is probably going to want to take on. If you don't build 1/32 scale planes, it might be a little overwhelming. But if you're into bigger planes, it's not going to be anything that you haven't done before. So my only recommendation is if you decide to build this kit and put it on its gear, make sure you get really sturdy metal landing gear for it. If you want to open it up, you're going to want to get some more detailed or scratch build on the interior. But other than that, I mean, I think it's going to turn out to be a beautiful kit. So I will catch you in the next video when I start painting.